Hi there, my name's Andy Young. I'm one of the automotive lecturers down at Unitec in Auckland, New Zealand, and this is one of my basic skills videos. And on this video I'm going to show you how to check your engine's oil level. Now your engine's oil level is really important. The oil provides lubrication to your engine while it's running, and if you let the oil level get low, too low, then the oil pickup inside is going to start every now and again when you go around a corner or down a steep hill or up a steep hill. It's going to start to suck air. Now that might not cause an immediate problem on the dashboard as a driver. You may not see the oil light flash on because it may not have too little oil pressure, but it may have a reduced oil pressure, and that's going to cause additional wear inside the engine. Now, it is important that you check your oil on your car on a regular basis. You should check you need to have your car on a level surface. That's critical. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it at all. Also, your engine should be up to operating temperature. You shouldn't be doing this with the engine cold. And the reason for that is that as the engine warms up, the volume, the oil itself, expands due to thermal expansion. The volume of oil becomes greater. So if you check your oil level and the engine's cold and it's, let's say, at maximum, or maybe it's half full. Let's say it's half full. Check it when the engine's cold, it's half full. So you go, hey, no problem, I'm going to top it up. I'm going to go on a long journey tomorrow. I'll top it up to maximum, and then we're all good. And then you set off on your trip the next morning, the engine gets up to operating temperature on the motorway. And in actual fact, that oil, because of thermal expansion, becomes excessive. There's too much oil in the actual sump. And there's a possibility the oil then can end up being blown into the airbox due to the breather pipe on the engine. It runs usually to the airbox, and you can end up with oil inside your air filter. This happens a lot on motorcycles. If you don't check your oil level correctly and you essentially overfill, you take it to maximum with a cold engine, then once the engine warms up, there's a good chance you're going to get oil into the airbox. And that can cause all sorts of problems. Cars, it may just smoke a little bit and it's going to contaminate and probably wreck your air filter. Motorcycles, it can cause a lot more problems. Motorcycle engines are far more susceptible to poor running and that kind of thing if you get oil in the airbox and certainly down the intake track. Okay, so we'll head over to the vehicle and we're going to find the dipstick on the car. And in every vehicle it's in a different place, so we'll look at it on a Nissan Patrol. We'll locate the dipstick on a Ford Laser. We'll go and find the dipstick on a little Toyota RAV4 we've got in the workshop at the moment, waiting for the engine to be swapped, just to give you an idea what you're looking for. But normally, the dipsticks are nowadays yellow. So you look around for a yellow thing. If it's around the engine area, chances are it's the dipstick for the engine oil. If it's around the gearbox area, then it's going to be a dipstick for the gearbox. And there's a whole different video on how to check automatic transmission oil level, because that's an art in itself. There's a specific procedure you've got to go through in order to get an accurate reading. And the only reason why we're doing this is to get an accurate reading so we know whether or not to top the oil up on the engine. Okay, to the vehicles. Okay, so we've got an old, golly, what is it, 1994? Yes, 1994 Ford Laser. What a machine. And looking around the engine bay, just to identify a few bits and pieces, down here we've got the gearbox. So we're not going to find an engine oil dipstick anywhere near the gearbox. So if we head over the other side of the engine bay, that's your air filter inside there. Come round to this side and we're looking for something yellow. Now they're usually reasonably easy to get to. It's one of the things, there we go, look. Okay, so we've got, and it should have a ring pull on the top. That's obviously snapped off at some point. This is the dipstick for the engine oil. And the engine's already warmed up and the car's on a level surface. So now I'll just get rid of the camera, we can do a dipstick check on this car. Okay, so I'm going to pull the dipstick out, not to take a reading, but to clean it off so I can show you the markings at the end of the dipstick and what they mean. Let's have a look in the workshop and see what's going on. Okay, so this is the dipstick off that little Ford Laser. And if you look, you can see really well now. You can see we've got an F and a line underneath, and a low and a line above. Now Ford have been really good. They've also put 0.8. That means that it's going to take 0.8 litres of oil to get from minimum, which is that little line there, to maximum, which is that line there. So if you find that your car's on minimum, then if you add 0.8 of a litre of oil, it's going to take it straight to maximum without having to sort of keep topping it up to guess. So when we dip the oil, we should hopefully get a reading somewhere in there. Now, because the engine's at operating temperature, we want it to be at maximum. If it's over maximum, then we've got a problem. Okay, so this engine's been running for a few minutes. It's got up to operating temperature. I know that because I've checked on the dashboard, and the temperature gauge is basically the needles where it would normally be whilst driving down the road after a few Ks. And you can certainly feel the heat off the engine. Now, it's time now to pull the dipstick out. Give it a really good clean off, get rid of all the oil that's on that dipstick. And then, what we need to do is put the dipstick back in, down the hole, just gently twisting it, making sure it's quite smooth, and it needs to go all the way to the shoulder at the bottom of that yellow plastic. Make sure it's all the way down, otherwise you're going to get a false reading. And then pull the dipstick up slowly, without twisting it, pulling it up, and we'll go and look in the workshop and see what reading we got. Okay, so we just dipped the oil level on the car, and this is what we got on the dipstick. Now, the reason why I'm doing like this is it's just easier for you to see than it is outside. And if you look closely, you'll see that, if I use this as a pointer, the oil level is about here on the dipstick. And that maximum line is about, what is it, about 4 mil below, maybe 3 or 4 mil below. So in actual fact, that engine has got too much oil in the sump. It's overfilled, is what we call that. And that's on a long journey, that could cause a bit of a problem. Now, it is only slightly overfilled. If it was another 3 or 4 mil, then I'd be getting really quite concerned. Strictly speaking, yes, we should drain some oil out. In reality, is it going to happen? Highly unlikely. I think that engine does burn a bit of oil anyway, so give it a few weeks and it'll have disappeared. Okay, so we've checked the oil level on this little Ford Laser, and we've found it's about 3 mil above the maximum line on the dipstick. That tells us it's actually overfilled. And the most likely reason how that's happened is that whoever's topped the oil up last has done it while the engine was cold. A fundamental mistake when topping up your engine oil. Okay, so we'll pop the dipstick back in, and we're going to head over to that Nissan Patrol now and see what the oil level's like on that engine. Okay, so this is the 4.2 straight 6 diesel Nissan Patrol, and if you have a look round the dipstick, again it's marked in yellow, and it's just between the two oil filters. Now this is quite a large engine, well, much larger engine compared to the one that's in the Ford Laser. But dipping the oil is exactly the same. We need to get the engine up to operating temperature, and we need to have the vehicle sat on level ground. And then we can pull out the dipstick and give it a wipe, and then take a reading. Okay, so Nissan Patrol, pull out the dipstick. Now, this is diesel engine oil, so you want to really try and avoid getting this on your hands at all costs. It's nasty stuff. It tends to stick in get into your skin, and takes a lot of cleaning out, and it can cause cancer as well, so keep it away from your fingers. Okay, so on this particular dipstick, the Nissan Patrols, we don't have any letters or numbers. It's just a hatchings area across the end of the dipstick, and of course at the bottom of the hatchings will be minimum, and the top of the hatchings will be maximum. So let's see what we get. Again, pushing it all the way down, bringing it out, and hey presto, she's a little bit over full again. Oh dear, not doing very well here, are we? Right, so another one that's got too much oil in it. Let's go and look at the little RAV4 that's just behind me. We'll go and drag that out of the paddock, get it warmed up, and we'll check the oil in that too. Okay, so oh golly, what is it? 1995 Toyota RAV4 engine bay. And again, down to the right hand side down there, we've got the gearbox. Here's the engine, and on this particular one, the dipstick is right down here at the front, down by the exhaust manifold. So we're going to pull that out, give it a wipe and dip it and see what we get. Okay, so here's a really good wipe off. Always wipe it and dip it, never try and take a reading from just pulling it straight out. Okay, now these are a bit of a pain to get back in, there's a bit of an angle. There we go. Okay, that's not too bad. At least this one is way under. So you can see the hatchings again, and this one's got an F on there. And it is within the hatchings, so that's good, but it is pretty much close to the bottom. So this is going to need a top up of oil. So the engine's already warmed up, so we can accurately top up this oil level. So that's pretty good. We do have one more vehicle we can have a quick look at, just as another example of where dipsticks are, and that's an old Ford Ute. Okay, so 1990 something or other Ford Ute Courier, and looking around the engine bay, oh there we go, look, a bit of yellow. There's your dipstick. You can see it just goes straight down into the sump. Cool. Okay, so we'll pull that out and we'll take a reading. Yeah, quick wipe again, and we've just got an F and an L on this one. There's no hatchings on there. Down the tube all the way to the bottom, pull it out, and oh wow, look at that, this one is actually bang on the full mark. So out of 4 vehicles checked, this is the only one that's got exactly the right amount of oil in the engine. Great job. Okay, so we've checked a few different vehicles, Ford Laser, Nissan Patrol, little RAV4 and an old Ford Courier Ute for the various oil levels in the engine. And only one of them, the last one, was actually correct. First 2 had too much oil in, the third one had way too little oil in. It was still in the hatchings, it was still usable, nothing to worry about, but obviously there's some oil gone somewhere. Oil levels critical, as I already explained previously. When you come to top up your engine oil, you do need to make sure that you're putting the right oil in the engine as well. So do check your manufacturer's specifications for that. And there you go, quite simple. Okay, well, this probably wasn't such a short video. I'll try to edit it right down best I can. I hope you found it helpful. My name is Andy Young. I'm one of the automotive lecturers down at Unitech in Auckland. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down the bottom, and I'll do my very best to get back to you. Please don't forget, if you find this video helpful, do subscribe to my channel, and you'll get notifications come through as and when new videos get uploaded. Okay, cheers, thanks for watching.